Rachel Harper's day began just like any other at Denver International Airport. People shuffled past her, some hurried, some leisurely, all wrapped in their own world. She wasn't anyone special, just another traveler moving through the bustling terminal, yet Rachel had a past far more intricate than her casual appearance suggested. Ticket in hand, she walked toward gate 26, her backpack settled comfortably over one shoulder. With a deep breath, she boarded Flight 982 to Seattle, took her seat by the window, and observed the busy tarmac below as the plane prepared for departure. A soft sigh escaped her lips as she fastened her seatbelt and turned off her routines. Yet this time it felt heavier, like a bridge between two worlds. The world she'd left behind and the one she was about to dive back into. Once an Air Force cadet, Rachel had flown countless miles through turbulent skies and rigorous simulations, training as a pilot. But after years of sacrifice, red tape, and exhaustion, she chose a different path in tech. It had been 6 years since she last took the controls. Flying had been her first love, yet that chapter felt like a distant memory, one she'd let go, or so she thought. But as Flight 982 ascended, a sudden jolt snapped her out of her thoughts. A turbulence, soft at first, quickly escalated. Gasps filled the cabin, and overhead compartments snapped open, as if the plane itself were shaking loose the past. Then, the unmistakable, stomach-churning lurch. The flight attendants' faces tightened, but they tried to remain calm. Rachel, though, wasn't fooled. She knew this wasn't just turbulence. It was something deeper. "Ladies and gentlemen, please stay seated. We're experiencing some unexpected turbulence." The captain's voice crackled through the intercom. His attempt at reassurance was evident, but even his words betrayed a hint of anxiety. Rachel's hand gripped the armrest, her senses heightened. She scanned the cabin, noticing the subtle tension between the crew. Something wasn't right. Then, another sharp bang, the plane lurched, and the lights flickered. Oxygen masks dropped from the compartments. Panic swirled around her, but Rachel's mind shifted back to training, her thoughts clearer than ever. She wasn't just a passenger anymore, she was a pilot, once again thrust into the unknown. A flight attendant stumbled past her, offering reassurance to the frightened passengers. Rachel stood, her voice cutting through the chaos. "What's happening?" "Level 3 malfunction," the attendant whispered. "One engine's gone, the other's overheating. They're trying to fix it." Rachel didn't hesitate. "I'm a trained pilot. If they need help, I'm here." The attendant's eyes met hers, scanning for fear. But what she saw was not fear, only focus. After a moment's hesitation, the attendant nodded. "I'll check." Minutes later, the attendant returned, her expression grave. "The co-pilot's unconscious. The captain needs you now." The decision Rachel had avoided for years had arrived. Without a second thought, she walked toward the cockpit. As she passed the frightened passengers, she felt the weight of every choice that had led her here. She had never expected this moment. Yet now she was the one who had to take control. Inside the cockpit, the air was thick with tension. Captain Ellis, his face drawn with sweat, looked up as she entered. "You're the passenger?" he asked, his voice tight. "Rachel Harper, former Air Force cadet, certified flight instructor," she replied, sliding into the co-pilot's seat. The co-pilot, unconscious and pale, was barely breathing, his oxygen mask barely hanging on. "We've lost the left engine. The right one's overheating. The autopilot's offline, and the nav systems are glitching. We're 25 minutes from Seattle, but we're not going to make it," Ellis said, his voice thick with panic. "No contact with ATC." Rachel didn't hesitate. She scanned the cockpit's chaos, her mind recalling every lesson, every maneuver. "Let's stabilize her," she said, slipping on the headset. With muscle memory, she adjusted the trim, bypassed the malfunctioning systems, and guided the plane with a steady hand. Below, the rugged mountains and dense forests loomed, an unforgiving terrain that offered no easy solutions. But Rachel's focus remained on the task at hand. "Pine Creek Strip," Rachel said, tapping a backup tablet. "It's an old military runway. Short, rough, but within glide range." "You know about that?" Ellis asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. "It's our only chance," Rachel replied. Together, they adjusted course. Rachel, using the secondary systems to ping for help. The cabin, still in chaos, was unaware of who was now at the controls. As the plane descended toward Pine Creek, alarms blared, warning of a stall. Rachel's hands were steady, her eyes locked on the approaching ground. The plane's descent was too fast, but with quick adjustments, they eased closer to the runway. The ground loomed closer, and Rachel made a calculated decision. "You want to take her down?" Ellis asked, his voice strained. Rachel shook her head. "You're too shaken. I've got this." With a firm grip on the yoke, Rachel guided the plane through a turbulent landing. The wheels hit the runway hard, sparks flying as the plane skidded. After what seemed like an eternity, the jet finally came to a stop, 30 feet from the forest's edge. In the silence that followed, a small voice broke through. "Are we alive?" A wave of cheers erupted from the cabin, raw emotion pouring from the passengers as they realized they were safe. Outside, emergency crews arrived, and the plane was evacuated. Rachel, though exhausted, stayed calm, ensuring the passengers were safe before stepping off the plane herself. The next day, Rachel's name flooded the media. "Passenger lands jet in crisis." The headlines read. Her face, captured in a blurry post-landing photo, was now a symbol of calm under pressure. But Rachel didn't seek fame. She didn't need medals. What mattered was the lives saved, and the legacy she'd unknowingly begun. Then came the letter, "Young Girl," inspired by Rachel's actions, telling her she wanted to fly to, and that was the moment Rachel knew what she had to do. She launched the Rachel Harper Flight Fund, a scholarship program for young, aspiring pilots, especially those told they didn't belong. Months passed. Rachel's story continued to inspire, and she became a symbol of resilience, proving that courage wasn't the absence of fire, it was the willingness to act despite it. At a flight school in Seattle, a teen named Ethan approached her, thanking her for saving his life. He, too, wanted to be a pilot. Rachel, seeing her younger self in him, took him under her wing. The Rachel Harper Flight Fund became the catalyst for a new generation of pilots, each of them ready to take on the skies, fueled by Rachel's legacy. As she watched another cadet soar into the sky, Rachel knew that her journey wasn't just about her. It was about every person who dared to dream. And in that moment, she knew the sky would always be her home, not to conquer, but to share.